Are you making these common gardening mistakes that could be ruining your plants? Many beginners dive into gardening with enthusiasm, only to face frustration when things don't grow as expected. But don't worry. Today, we'll uncover the top 5 mistakes new gardeners make so you can avoid them and grow a thriving garden. Welcome to Don't Do This Guide, where we help you avoid the most common pitfalls in gardening. If you love growing plants and want to improve your gardening skills, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out. Now, there's nothing quite like the feeling of nurturing a seed into a plant, watching it sprout and reach for the sky. But too much of a good thing, even something as essential as water, can spell disaster for your garden. Overwatering is a surprisingly common mistake, and it can lead to a whole host of problems. You see, when the soil is constantly soggy, it creates an environment where the roots, those lifelines of your plants, can't breathe. Just like us, plants need oxygen, and waterlogged soil suffocates the roots, leading to root rot. Root rot is a serious condition that can kill your plants. It's caused by fungi that thrive in damp conditions, and once it sets in, it can be very difficult to control. So how do you know if you're overwatering? Well, the first sign is often wilting leaves, which seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? You'd think wilting means the plant needs more water, but in this case, it's a cry for help from those drowning roots. Other signs include yellowing leaves, stunted growth, and a sour smell coming from the soil. The key to avoiding overwatering is to understand the water needs of your plants. Different plants have different requirements, so it's essential to do your research and find out what's best for your garden. As a general rule, it's better to underwater than overwater. A good way to check if your plants need watering is to stick your finger into the soil. If the top inch or two feels dry, then it's time to give them a drink. But if it's still moist, hold back and wait a bit longer. Remember, a little observation goes a long way. Pay attention to your plants, and they'll tell you what they need. And trust me, they'd much rather have a slightly drier spell than a constant deluge. Now, let's talk about choosing the right spot for your plants. It's a bit like real estate, really. Location is everything. Just like we wouldn't expect a sunflower to thrive in a dark basement, we can't expect shade-loving ferns to flourish in the scorching midday sun. Each plant has its own preferences when it comes to sunlight, and ignoring these preferences is a surefire way to end up with unhappy, unhealthy plants. Some plants, like our sun-worshipping sunflowers, need at least 6 hours of direct sunlight each day. These are your sunbathers, the ones that soak up the rays and reward you with vibrant blooms. Then you have your partial shade lovers, those that prefer a bit of a break from the intense heat. They're happy with 4 to 6 hours of sunlight, ideally in the morning when it's a bit gentler. Think of woodland plants like hostas or ferns that thrive in the dappled light filtering through the trees. And lastly, we have the shade dwellers, the ones that actually prefer a bit of a shady retreat. These plants are content with less than 4 hours of direct sunlight and often prefer to be shielded from the harsh afternoon sun. They're perfect for brightening up those darker corners of your garden. Now, sunlight is crucial, but it's not the only factor to consider when choosing the right spot for your plants. You also need to think about soil. Just like sunlight, different plants have different soil preferences. Some plants, like lavender, prefer well-drained soil, while others, like bog plants, thrive in damp conditions. Testing your soil can give you valuable insights into its pH level and nutrient content, helping you choose the right plants for your garden. Remember, planting in the wrong spot is like sending your plants on a wild goose chase. They might survive, but they'll never truly thrive. So take the time to observe your garden, understand its microclimates, and choose the perfect location for each plant. Now let's delve into the often overlooked world of soil. It's easy to think of soil as just, well, dirt, but it's so much more than that. Soil is a living ecosystem, teeming with beneficial organisms that are essential for plant health. It's the foundation of your garden, and neglecting it is like building a house on shaky ground. Healthy soil is alive with earthworms, beneficial bacteria, and fungi. These tiny creatures might not be the most glamorous garden residents, but they play a vital role in breaking down organic matter, releasing nutrients that plants need to grow. Think of them as your garden's very own recycling crew, transforming kitchen scraps and fallen leaves into valuable plant food. One of the best things you can do for your soil is to add compost. Compost is like a gourmet meal for your soil microbes. providing them with the nutrients they need to thrive. It improves soil structure, making it easier for roots to penetrate and access water and nutrients. And the beauty of compost is that you can easily make it at home using kitchen scraps and garden waste. It's a fantastic way to reduce your environmental impact while giving your garden a nutritional boost. Now, if you find that your soil is heavy clay or very sandy, you can improve its structure by adding organic matter. Organic matter, like well-rotted manure or leaf mold, acts like a sponge, improving drainage in clay soil and increasing water retention in sandy soil. It's all about finding that balance, creating a soil environment where your plants can flourish. Remember, healthy soil equals healthy plants. So make feeding your soil a top priority, and your garden will reward you with abundance. Now let's talk about choosing the right plants for your garden. It's one of the most exciting aspects of gardening, but it can also be a bit overwhelming, especially with so many beautiful plants to choose from. But here's the thing, not all plants are created equal. What thrives in your neighbor's garden might not necessarily thrive in yours, and that's perfectly all right. The key is to choose plants that are well suited to your specific climate and soil type. Think of it like finding the right puzzle piece. You need to find the plants that fit your garden's unique conditions. Start by determining your garden's hardiness zone. Hardiness zones are based on the average lowest winter temperatures in a particular region. Each zone is assigned a number, and plants are categorized based on the zones they can tolerate. Planting within your hardiness zone significantly increases your chances of success. Next, consider your soil type. As we discussed earlier, different plants have different soil preferences. Some thrive in well-drained soil, while others prefer damp conditions. Testing your soil can give you valuable insights into its pH level and nutrient content, helping you narrow down your plant choices. And don't forget about sunlight. Observe your garden throughout the day and note how much sunlight different areas receive. This will help you choose plants that will be happy in the specific light conditions of your garden. Remember, choosing the right plants is half the battle won. When you work with nature instead of against it, gardening becomes a joy, and your plants will thrive. Now let's face it, no garden is immune to the occasional pest or disease. It's just a fact of gardening life. But the good news is that with a bit of vigilance and prompt action, you can keep these unwanted guests from wreaking havoc in your garden. The key is early detection. Regularly inspect your plants for any signs of trouble, such as holes in leaves, discoloration, or unusual growths. The sooner you spot a problem, the easier it will be to control. Now, when it comes to dealing with pests and diseases, prevention is always better than cure. Creating a healthy garden environment is the best defense against these unwelcome visitors. Healthy plants are naturally more resilient and better equipped to withstand attacks. One of the best ways to prevent pests is to encourage beneficial insects in your garden. Ladybirds, lacewings, and hoverflies are natural predators of many common garden pests, such as aphids and whiteflies. Planting a diverse range of flowering plants will attract these beneficial insects to your garden. Another effective strategy is to use physical barriers to deter pests. For example, you can protect vulnerable seedlings with netting or use copper tape to deter slugs and snails. And if you do need to resort to pesticides, always opt for organic options that are less harmful to beneficial insects and the environment. Remember, a healthy garden is a balanced ecosystem. By working with nature and taking a proactive approach, you can keep pests and diseases at bay and enjoy a thriving garden. There you have it. These are the top 5 mistakes that can make or break your gardening experience. Avoid these, and you'll be on your way to a lush and thriving garden in no time. Remember, gardening is a journey of learning and discovery. Don't be afraid to experiment, make mistakes, and learn from them. The more you connect with your garden, the more rewarding it will be. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment about your biggest gardening mistake. Let's learn together.